Good afternoon, friends, and welcome to what is the first official edition of the Activist Collective podcast. My name is Jess. I've been on TikTok for about 5 years, and I've recently decided that we needed to take some of this off air so that we could say what we needed to say, because sometimes I just want to be an adult and say what needs to be fucking said, right? Right now, as I record this, we are dealing with the ongoing investigation of a mid-air plane crash between a military helicopter and a passenger plane. During the moments after the plane crash, Donald Trump took to his Truth Social to, without having any evidence or information, blame the air traffic controller. Just a little bit ago, he met with the media where he promptly blamed DEI. If I can figure out how to work this, I will play the clip for you. Let's see.
Who they are. It matters. Intellect, talent, the word talent. You have to be talented, naturally talented geniuses. You can't have regular people doing that job. They won't be able to do it. But we'll restore faith in American air travel. I'll have more to say about that. I do want to point out that various articles that appeared prior to my entering office, and here's one. The FAA's diversity push includes focus on hiring people with severe intellectual and psychiatric disabilities. That is amazing. And then it says FAA says people with severe disabilities are most underrepresented segment of the workforce, and they want them in and they want them. They can be air traffic controllers. I don't think so. This was in January 14th, so that was a week before I entered office. They put a big push to put diversity into the FAA's program. And then another article, the Federal Aviation Administration, this was before I got to office, recently, second term. The FAA is actively recruiting workers who suffer severe intellectual disabilities, psychiatric problems, and other mental and physical conditions under a diversity and inclusion hiring initiative spelled out on the agency's website. Can you imagine? These are people that are, actually, their lives are shortened because of the stress that they have. Brilliant people have to be in those positions, and their lives are actually shortened, very substantially shortened because of the stress, where you have many, many planes coming into one target. And you need a very special talent and a very special genius to be able to do it. Targeted disabilities are those disabilities that the federal government, as a matter of policy, has identified for special emphasis in recruitment and hiring. The FAA's website states they include hearing, vision, missing extremities, partial paralysis, complete paralysis, epilepsy, severe intellectual disability, psychiatric disability, and dwarfism all qualify for the position of a controller of airplanes pouring into our country, pouring into a little spot, a little dot on the map, little runway. The initiative is part of the FAA's diversity and inclusion hiring plan. Think of that. The initiative is part of the FAA's diversity and inclusion hiring plan, which says diversity.
So let's make some things really clear, okay? First of all, he attacked numerous people with physical disabilities. Just sometimes I'm just left speechless by how stupid that man is. There's no question. Absolutely no question. None of what he said is true. He's citing articles. Did you hear him? One article wrote, well, where did you get this article from, and how reputable are they really? Right? It's worth noting. I don't know if I said this before, but the FAA's guidelines are the same as they were when he was in office. He's looking for excuses because he knows that his actions are the more likely cause for what happened early this morning or late last night. And he's not going to ever admit that. Never in a million years. He's bribing federal workers with your tax dollars, friends, to up and leave their jobs. They're going to use your tax dollars to pay millions of people for 8 months, give them insurance for 8 months, while they go ahead and hire new people who will be vetted very carefully and scrutinized for loyalty. So you're going to be paying 8 months of employees to stay home, and then paying for new employees. The federal employees that do stay are under new strict guidelines. The first one is that they must return to the office, okay? And they must work a 5-day work week. The second is now performance culture. They want to strictly do away with anything that has to do with being in a marginalized group. They don't want to have to accommodate you if you're disabled. None of that shit. If you perform the top of your class, you get the raises, you get everything. So, a person with a physical disability might take them a little bit, longer to get work done. Too fucking bad in his opinion. The guy who can sprint circles around the disabled person gets the win every time. I mean, he's a real fuck, isn't he? He's a real fuck. More streamlined and flexible workforce. They still will be cutting jobs. They're cutting back on the workforce. So whoever doesn't take this buyout, chances are they're going to fire you anyways and say, oh, we're doing cutbacks. We're lessening the workforce. Number 4, enhanced standards of conduct. This one really fucking got me, okay? When the man who lacks any moral fiber whatsoever starts telling you that you need to act in a manner that is, worthy of the office, and in a lawful manner, those are their words. You must act in a lawful manner. Well, our own president doesn't act in a lawful fucking manner. So why should anybody else? But they expect that out of you. So I don't know what the right move is. If you're a federal employee, I would get with that union ASAP and find out what the best move is for you. I sure as shit wouldn't leave. I would not leave because I would want them to try to force me out. I would, because I would want to sue them when I was fucking done. RFK's absolute shit show of a confirmation hearing was held yesterday. And the only thing that came out of it that was worth mentioning to me was the fact that he said that he would do whatever Trump wanted him to do as far as the abortion issue was concerned. Not what he personally believes, but what the Messiah and their cult leader tells him he should do is what he's going to do. Another bit that I found super interesting, friends, is on the first round of immigration sweeps, they brought along a film crew, not just any film crew. They brought along Dr. fucking Phil, the washed up, canceled ass fucking nobody. They brought him. And I think someone else hit the nail on the head, and I forget who said it, but the reason they brought Dr. Phil was not because they wanted to document it and show you how, nice they were being to the immigrants, but Dr. Phil has a loyal following of white female, white women within a certain age range, like 35 to 50 or something like that. And they really wanted to push what they were doing with that crowd and make it look like what they were doing was on the up and up. So Dr. Phil got to record and follow along on the raids, which is gross to me. Absolutely vile. They didn't bring Fox News. If they wanted people to see it, they would have brought a bigger news source or a better journalist. They didn't bring anybody that could have put this shit all over the airwaves. They brought Dr. Phil, and that was by design, clearly. So they're going for the sympathy award for white women. Excuse me while I clear my throat. I want to get on the topic of the January 6ers because one, fuck them all. Fuck them all. I just, first and foremost, let's get that out of the way. I will say that to their faces. I don't give a fuck. This is a group of some of the most horrible people. Were there people who just showed up there and perhaps, I'm going to try to give someone the benefit of the doubt, and I shouldn't, but devil's advocate, someone walked in and truly didn't know, but they weren't violent. They didn't know, and they left when they were told. Those people are not in fucking jail, you guys. Those aren't the people who are in jail. Now, the Republicans would have you believe that those are the people who are filling the jails. People who just meandered in to take pictures. No. People who did violent crimes and people with extensive criminal histories went to jail. NPR did a story, and I believe it was just released today, about how dozens and dozens and dozens of some of these January 6ers have some of the most violent criminal pasts before January 6th even happened, before that. So, for instance, I took notes. A guy named Matthew Huddle. Matthew Huddle is the man who was just shot by Indiana police. I'm sorry, I'm trying to read my own writing. Matthew Huddle, before January 6th, had a child abuse charge against him where he beat a 7-year-old child so badly that there were welts and bruises on his bottom and neck. I'm using their words, welts and bruises. And he hit him so hard that the child could not sit down properly for a week. A week. This poor child. Not only that, he had numerous OWI charges, or DUI, I don't know what they're calling them now. He's a guy who was after his release, he was pulled over by Indiana police, and the dude pulled a pew-pew on him. There's more investigating, apparently, that has to be done. Another dude, Peter Schwartz, he had 38 criminal convictions before his sentencing, before he showed up at January 6th. 38 criminal convictions. He was sentenced to 14 years in prison, not just because of what happened at the Capitol, but because he's a fucking criminal and he's a repeat offender. That's what they call them, repeat offenders. And these are the people that maggots are constantly screaming, get him off the streets. Why are they still on the street? Well, because your fucking Lord and Savior, Donald Cheeto Christ, released them all. By the way, he released them all. Admittedly, he said this out of his own fucking mouth because it was just too cumbersome to go through all. He said, can you imagine going through all 1,500 of those? If you cared, you would, you fucking orange piece of shit. Another guy who got released onto the streets is a guy named Theodore Mittendorf, who pled guilty to sexual assault of a 7-year-old child. Yeah, that was in his past, too. So, friends, here's the deal. There's going to be a lot of news coming out, and it's going to happen consistently every day for the next I say the next 4 years in the hopes that we have another election. And I'm going to keep saying the next 4 years because I do not want to think about what will happen if we do not have elections in the next 4 years or if they try to come after our Constitution. Um, you know, things like that. There's going to be, it's just going to be you're going to get inundated and it's going to be a mess. So get ready for it. Get used to it. Choose the media outlets you want to watch and turn off the rest because a lot of it's just going to be on repeat. Donald Trump has decided that he wants to open up Guantanamo Bay for, I think he said 30,000 or 300,000 immigrants. And he claims that only the really bad ones are going here. The people who they can't just drop off in another country because I'm paraphrasing here. You can't just drop them off in another country because they're so violent that there's no guarantee that the other country is going to do the right thing with these people. So they're going to lock them up in Guantanamo Bay, which we just assume is another word for concentration camp because there will be absolutely no way to decipher for the American people to decipher who is actually going. This could be men, women, and children, immigrants, from any country and for any reason. So trust me when I tell you that you can't believe a goddamn thing that man says. So if he says it's for violent offenders only, just assume there will be women and children there who are not violent offenders. What I want to say to you guys, and I'm going to continue to say to you guys, is that you need to find community right now. Okay? I know that MAGA wants to believe that we're melting down and we're all going to collapse in a puddle of emotions, and no. Yes, we're feeling the emotions, but we're not collapsing. We're getting stronger and more knowledgeable by the day. We're reaching out for community, right? We're educating ourselves beyond what we ever thought we should. We're reading books. We are talking to people in our community, and we are finding connections that may be important later on, right? If I make a connection with a person in Virginia and they decide they need to flee Virginia for whatever reason, they know a person in Michigan. And that's the type of connections I mean. You need to have connections outside of your home in the event that something terrible happens, and you need to reach out to these people, okay? I told you guys I wanted you to read a few books, so please make sure that the first one you read is On Tyranny. That's the title, On Tyranny. There's a lot of good information in there. It's scary. It's hard to read to think that this is where we are. But when he wrote the book, I don't know if he knew that we would be here as fast as it happened. Friends, I hope that I have covered enough stuff in this first official episode. But I want you to know that I'm with you all the way. I'm with you at all times. I'm thinking about every one of you. I know that you don't think I do, but I care about every one of you very much. So it is important to me to know that you guys are taking care of your mental health, in whatever way that is. Okay, a very good media source is Midas Touch. I would love to see them outrank Fox News in the ratings. So please make sure you're tuning into them. Okay. Make sure that you do something for yourself that makes you feel good. Right, I'd tell you to touch grass, but if you live in Michigan like me, there's no grass to be found, just ice, snow, slush, and gray deadness. Michigan is a very depressing place to be in the winter. But if you have grass, go fucking touch it. If it's warm, go soak up that vitamin D. Go do something that makes your soul happy. Okay? Because there's going to be a lot of really, really hard stuff to go through in the next 4 years. And hopefully that's all it is 4 years. We've made it through it once. We'll make it through again. But don't let the inundation of media and executive orders and new laws and new bills and new resolutions. They're doing this for a reason, friends. They want to make you look at all the things that are in the news while they try to pass unscrupulous shit without you knowing. Tennessee legislators are doing some really stupid shit too right now. I believe it's Tennessee. They're trying to make it a felony if you are an elected official and you disagree with or vote against Donald Trump's immigration policy. They're trying to make it a fucking crime to do what you were put there to goddamn do, you stupid fucks. The Republicans in Tennessee are the dumbest motherfuckers. They are so... I mean, number one, what kind of a person with an education, a college background, a college educated person with a law background, what kind of a person with that kind of willpower to go through all that stuff can fall for this cult bullshit? What the fuck? Are you a grown man or are you a little bitch? That's what I say to the Republican electeds in Tennessee. Are you a grown person or are you a pussy ass bitch? Sounds to me and the rest to the rest of America that you're a pussy ass bitch because you can't think for yourself. You can't make decisions without consulting your fucking Cheeto dusted messiah. Use your own fucking brain. Use your own moral compass. And I know for a fact that following that man off of a cliff like little lemmings would listen. I get so flustered. But if you have a brain and you have an education and you've been elected to speak for the people don't want you following that man off of a cliff. They want you taking each action one at a time with thought and being conscientious about it. That's what the voters put you there to do. Not to do whatever that fucking bastard tells you to do just because he said to. And if you do that, to me, you're a pussy ass bitch. That's right. Just go gobble down some glowing orange cock, you bastards. So that's it for the Activist Collective, friends. I'm hoping that as I become more proficient with the new software that I'm using, I'll be able to add more things, more clips, more pictures, because there is a lot to show you. Make sure you're following Midas Touch. Make sure you're following the people who are important to you, because I don't want you to have to go outside and look at too many media sources. It's just going to be the same stuff on repeat, and it's going to feel overwhelming. So follow the people you trust and only look to those people for your news source, for your news and your information. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Stay strong, find community, educate yourself, read books, get a go bag, pack a go bag, get your documents in order, because you never fucking know when you might have to jam.